Good afternoon and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Hope you guys are well. Hope it's all going swimmingly in your lives. Is what it is really, isn't it? It's all still locked down. Everything in our world is pretty much the same, just work. Did have a lovely weekend. Managed to spend it with the family, did some walks, drank some fine wine, took some photos. That was about it really. Anyway, sorry, it's been ages since I made a video and I do apologise. That's purely down to me and just work and my changing hours and stuff like that has been an absolute nightmare. But hopefully there is a light at the end of the tunnel, as they say, and we will start to be able to kind of keep making more videos because obviously I'm getting snowed under with stuff to film and it's really frustrating. But anyway, today we're going to be looking at 3 perfumes. Now, I wanted to do a video on some old gold or, you know, relics that best be forgotten. So we're going to look at 3 today and these are all available for very little money and they're well worth exploring. So I will say from the out that I do like all 3 of these, so there's no shocks there. I have got a video coming up of a blind buy that, or 2 blind buys that actually didn't pay off, so you will be getting a negative video coming up soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at 3 today, and the first one is this one, which I never hear anything about, and this is Paul Sebastian Fine Cologne. So that's the first one we're going to look at. Then we're going to be taking a look at this one, which is a Giorgio Beverly Hills Red. I think it's Red Pour Homme or Pour Homme Red. So that's one we're going to be looking at. And then finally, we're going to be looking at Giorgio Beverly Hills Pour Homme. Now, all 3 of these are in the latest version. I've not searched out vintage bottles or anything like that. These are all available, I think, for under £20. And well, not each. Well, each, but you know, they're all under £20 and they're all very easy to get hold of. I had no issues getting them at all. So we will start with Paul Sebastian Fine Cologne. So let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, this is Paul Sebastian Fine Cologne. So it's an absolute fingerprint beast, this one, unfortunately. This came out in 1979, and I'll be honest with you, when I started researching these perfumes, I didn't see too much about it. There's quite a bit on Fragrantica about it, but I don't think there's that much about it on YouTube. But it's got, I mean, the bottle's okay. This is a 50ml, and I think I got this from Fragrance X, and I think it was around £15, I think. And that included shipping to the UK. So that was really, really good. It came within 3 or 4 days. And there's the sprayer. Now, what I will say before we get into the perfume, this sprayer is terrible. It's absolutely the worst of any perfume that I've got. It takes a bloody age for anything to come out. There we go, there's a bit come out there. And what you have here is a beautiful perfume. It's a very manly, masculine perfume of yesteryear. It does have an aftershavey vibe to it, but it's absolutely lovely. There's a lot of lavender, there's a lot of sage, so it is a kind of like you know, a spicy gents scent, as it were, but it's beautiful. There's a lot of florals in it. If you look at the notes, you have lavender, you have sage, you have nutmeg, you have ylang ylang, you have rose, you have jasmine, you have cloves, you have musk, you have amber, and you have patchouli on the base. So there's a lot that you would expect to see in a spicy aromatic gents fragrance, but because there's quite a lot of florals in here, this does give it a slightly different edge to it. It's a very floral take on a barbershop, but it's incredibly masculine at the same time. Performance is very, very good. It has good projection and it has good sillage. However, it's incredibly long. Well, I wouldn't say incredibly long lasting, but I wear this to work and I get home and I can still smell it on me perfectly well. So it does last. It projects pretty strongly to start off with though. In fact, the opening is a little bit chaotic. There's quite a lot going on in the opening. It gets quite intense. Then it kind of steps across and the florals start to kick in. Someone described this as a gentleman working in a florist. I kind of agree with that. I think it's probably not as floral as you think it's going to be, but it's certainly good. And it's one I'm glad that I've added to my collection because it's very, very different to, you know, there's lots of fragrances around there that do this kind of thing, but this one's pretty different. And the patch in the base suddenly becomes a lot more prominent as it dries down. And that, I always think patchouli gives a real level of class to a sophisticated fragrance. And this is punching well above its weight in this world. It's a beautiful fragrance, and it's one that I'm surprised I don't hear much more about, considering it's so relatively, you know, inexpensive. It's I don't know, it's really, really good. If you like sort of Bois de Portugal, if you like New York Intense, if you like those kind of fragrances, it's not in their league, obviously not, but it gives you an idea of what, you know, world this fragrance sits in. It's a really good one and one I thoroughly enjoy, and I'm really glad to have it in my collection. So have a look out for that one, and that's Paul Sebastian Fine Cologne. Right, next up, Red for Men. Now, this is Giorgio Beverly Hills. This came out in 91, so it's not as old as the other two. Again, this is the latest version of it. This is an interesting one. There is an issue with it. And the issue is the opening. It is straight up 100% sex pest. It's it opens like the worst of the 80s. This is slicked back, coked up, eyes like saucers, prowling around a nightclub or a party with bad intentions. And it really is that kind of open-shirted, medallioned cologne guy with bad intentions. But that passes quite quickly, and then it becomes a very, very wearable, leathery, clean, fresh fragrance. If you look at the notes, you'll see where it's coming from. On the top, we have Artemisia, we have caraway, and we have basil and bergamot. Under that, we have geranium, we have carnation, we have juniper berries, we have thyme, we have rose, and we have jasmine. Then on the base, we have leather, we have amber, we have patchouli, we have cedar, and we also have oak moss. I don't think a perfume could have been made in any of these sort of older eras without oak moss being mentioned. Now, obviously, this is the latest version, so it won't be as oak mossy as when it first came out. The problem is with this one, it's trying to be clean, fresh, and dark and spicy all at the same time, and it does do the spice thing quite well, but not as well as, say, Trumpers Eucharist. And because of that overdose of spice, it almost gives it an animalic vibe. You wouldn't be surprised if there was sort of civet or something like that lurking in here. I don't think there is. I think it's just the intensity and the density of the spices that kind of come into this to give this kind of real dodgy cologne guy. But it fades quite quickly, and then what happens is you have the florals come in, and that kind of rolls. It just rolls into the leather, and when the leather starts to appear, it becomes really, really nice. It's in the world of Guerlain's Heritage EDP. I wouldn't put them side by side. I mean, I own both. I wouldn't put them side by side and say they smell like each other, but it gives that impression. It's a really nice fragrance. I have worn this to work on a couple of occasions, and when I do, I like to give myself half an hour, just in, before I go out, just in case I bump into a member of the opposite sex and they start getting a bit nervous with me around them, because it is a bit intense, that opening. But once it's passed, it becomes a very, very wearable and very, very interesting leather scent. Yes, it does smell dated, not probably as dated as the others because it isn't as old, but it does have a kind of a dated vibe to it. It's a nice wear, and it is worth a blind buy. It's worth a punt. If you don't mind that weird opening, it becomes very, very good. There's almost a little bit of a polo-y green kind of vibe to it as it starts to roll out, which I quite like. I'm a big fan of polo green, so that's why I like it. Just the opening's a bit off, but apart from that, well worth exploring. And then finally, we'll get on to a Giorgio Beverly Hills Pour Homme, which is my favourite of the three. Giorgio Beverly Hills Pour Homme. Look how much juice of that this is a 100ml bottle. Look how much of that I've used. Absolutely love this stuff. This is talked about by people that know perfume as probably the best bargain in perfumery out there at the moment, and I can't argue with that. I think maybe Swiss Arabian Shagaf Oud may be kind of around there, but this is fantastic. I love this perfume, and I can't stress enough. This is the made in Spain current version. This is, if you were ordering this on Amazon, this is what you would get. You get a 100ml bottle of this for about 18 quid, and it's magnificent. The performance is blinding. Now, considering this is the weaker Spanish version, if you could probably get hold of an original bottle of this or one of the made in the States versions of it, that stuff must be nuclear, because this is very, very potent. I wear this to work and I don't lose it for a second. It has strong projection, strong sillage, and it's incredibly long lasting. When I come home from work, I take my work shirt off to get in the shower. It's everywhere. It just does not quit. But importantly, there's something more to it than just longevity and projection. It smells absolutely lovely. It's beautiful. It's very gentlemanly, and it is very much of its age. It has a dated vibe to it, but that translates into a distinguished vibe. It gets compliments. People have often said to me since I've had this at work, "Oh, you smell nice," which is great considering we're still in the world of masks. And 95% of my day when I'm interacting with somebody, and 99% of my day when I'm interacting with someone, we're both wearing masks, But a couple of times, you know, when we're having a coffee, I'm standing near a colleague when I'm having a coffee or something like that, they'll pick up on it and say, mate, you smell awesome. And it's beautiful. At the top you have aldehydes, you have orange, you have bergamot, you've got patch, you've got rose, you've got carnation, you've got everything you can think of. And the base, you've got vanilla, you've got musks, you've got all these beautiful materials that create this very, very sophisticated, slightly spicy, slightly floral, aromatic, clean gentleman's perfume. It's, oh mate, I can't say enough good things about it. You know, if you're looking for a daily wear, something that you can wear to the office, something that you can just wear casually, you know, it dresses up much better than it dresses down, but you can dress it down, no problem at all. If, you know, I hate the term done reach and we'll never use it, but if you just want to smell smart and clean and fresh and interesting, just get it. You can literally pick it up, spray it, you're good to go for a good 10 hours. It just seems to last and last and last, and you will smell like you care about yourself. So there you have it. These three are definitely gold. This one is my favourite. I cannot say enough good things about it, and I'm very conscious of the fact this video will just be me gushing about this if I let it run on much longer. This one, it's a bit mad in the opening, but I still quite like it and I will certainly wear it. And this one, when you can get the juice out, it's blinding. Really, really good stuff. So I fully expect, you know, if people are taking punts on these, to enjoy them. The only one that there is a slight question about is the red. The other two, they're perfectly blind buy safe. Absolutely blind buy safe if you like a smart and sophisticated style perfume. Anyway, guys, listen, thank you so much for your time and thanks for being patient with us. I'm sorry the videos are slow to come out. I'm really hoping to try and get a lot more film this week, so hopefully you'll be seeing a bit more of this funny looking grid on your screens. So listen, thank you very much for your time. We will see you on the next video. Cheers, thanks, and bye.